Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing Your Feminine Wound workshop. I am Jennifer Kittredge. I will be hosting this workshop today, and I'm going to share my screen with you. I put a PowerPoint together so that we can dig into this and you can follow along. So again, welcome to the workshop. I'm so excited that you're here. So I am Jennifer Kittredge. I am an embodiment guide and founder of Wild Hearted Revolution. And my background is in mental health therapy. For those of you who don't know me, I worked in the adoption field for almost 10 years. And then I went into private practice. And also I did some home health for a little bit. So I did therapy inside the home. So what I found when I was doing therapy and in private practice is there were a lot of restrictions within that field. And there was also a lot of diagnosing. And what I realized is that people started to identify themselves as the diagnosis. And I found very quickly that I did not like diagnosing people because of that. They would become attached to that. And I didn't like where that was going or how that was going. Sorry, my door's open. So I really struggled in that area for a while because I just felt like that label just got imprinted on people and they were just like, oh, this is me. This is what I have. This is who I am. And so I struggled and I decided that that wasn't for me. I take mental health very seriously. Obviously, my background's in it, but I just needed to go in a different direction. I wanted to really go deeper with people and kind of get out from under some of the strings and things that the mental health field have in within them. So I last year I thought one day I want to lead a women's circle, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I gathered 4 or 5 friends, I think it was 5, and I put a women's circle together and I really loved it. I loved the depth that it went to. I loved how the women opened up and shared. I loved that the vulnerability and the mirroring that happened and just the healing that took place within this really intimate, safe container. So I did that circle and I went on to find Sistership Circle, where I then went through a 12-week training to become a certified circle facilitator through Sistership Circle. After that, I did another level 2 training, and right now I'm currently in a 6-month training to be a level 3 mastery of circle facilitator. And I will tell you that going through circle myself, doing this deep work and really connecting with my divine essence, connecting with these feminine wounds that I didn't even know I had. They were just so programmed in me. I thought that they were normal, and healing them and getting to the root cause of them has been magic and medicine all wrapped up into one. It has really been this transformative time in my life. And I love that I can bring that to other women by gathering women. And I do that in person and virtually, and also through some one-on-one work that we will talk about later. So that's a little bit of who I am. And I'm going to go back to sharing the screen with you. So to dig in today, I want to talk a little bit about feminine and masculine energy. So we all have feminine and masculine energy. It has nothing to do with our gender. Every person on the planet has feminine and masculine energy. A lot of women, unfortunately, we work out of our feminine energy, or I'm sorry, our masculine energy. And we tend to really put that feminine energy aside or bury it because it's not quite acceptable, or you're weird, or you're too emotional, or all of the things that us females have heard. But traits of feminine energy are creativeness, caring, warrior spirit, nurturing, calm, allowing, intuitive, tranquil, patient, abstract, feminine energy is right brain, and thoughts and feelings. And so when you look at these traits, so many of us have been told to really not listen to our intuition. And I don't know about you, but I am a firm believer in listening to my gut and really being tuned into that intuitive part of myself. And I wasn't for a very long time. I squashed it because it wasn't right, or I was too weird or too witchy or whatever. And so, as women, we are conditioned to put these traits of the feminine energy that we have inside of us to really suppress them and really work from that masculine energy. Okay, and we can dive deeper into this at another time, kind of feminine and masculine energy. But one of the things that I do through circle work and working one on one with my clients is really balancing that energy, because there's so much of an imbalance with masculine and feminine energy that when we bring it into balance, oh, it's magical. And there's so much flow and creativity and just such beauty in your life when you can get to that point where your masculine and feminine energy are balanced. Okay, so next we're going to look at traits of the wounded feminine. And this was kind of hard for me to look at when I first started diving into this work, because it honestly, it pissed me off. I didn't realize the wounds that I had, and I needed to deal with them. So, traits of the wounded feminine are jealousy, anxiousness, depression, body shame, unexpressed rage, good girl syndrome, unworthiness, people pleasing, comparison, stifled sexuality, eating disorders, self sabotage, mistrust of other women, wearing masks, dimming our light, and lacking boundaries. And so if you struggle with any of this, know that there are pieces of your feminine that are wounded that need to be healed. And I will tell you, I have struggled with jealousy before, anxiety, depression, body shame, unexpressed rage. I could probably, maybe the only thing I haven't dealt with is eating disorders. But everything else I have really struggled with. And so when this is brought to your attention and brought to light, it's like a light bulb goes off. You're like, wow, I really need to get to the root of this and see what is at the core of why I'm feeling these things. And so when we can look at these traits, then we can start that healing process. So I took a couple of them for you, and we're just going to go through them. I took about 3 or 4. I'm obviously not going to go through all of the traits, but I wanted to look at a couple of them with you. So, mistrust of other women, the sister wound and the mother wound. So these are biggies with a lot of women. They were huge for me. I did not like other women. I did not trust other women. I had just a couple of girlfriends during, excuse me, high school, and I really hung out with guys because they were easier and I felt like I could, trust them, and I didn't have to worry about the comparison and the backstabbing and all of this stuff. So sister wounds are wounds that have been inflicted upon us by other women. And I'm just going to stop sharing for 1 second. We'll get back here. But wounds that have been inflicted upon us by other women. And I have inflicted sister wounds, and I know that. And I have also had quite a few sister wounds as well. We also have mother wounds. Now, mother wounds could be from our mother, or they could be from a mother figure, a teacher, or somebody in our life who had that role of, a mother figure. And I will tell you, I didn't know that I had a mother wound, and I have an amazing mother. I have a great mom. We have a great relationship, but there were places along the way where she did something, said something, whatever, that inflicted a wound on me, and I had no idea. And so as I was doing this work and able to recognize it and then release it, oh my gosh, the freedom and healing that came from that. Sister wounds. I have a lot of sister wounds. I have been hurt by a lot of women, and I really had to look at that. I had to look at, why I was hurt, what was happening, and could I release this and could I forgive? Now, when we forgive people, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're letting them back into our lives, but it means that we are finally releasing and letting go. Because if you've heard the saying, like unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Normally, they're probably not thinking about what they did to you, or, they didn't think it was that big of a deal. However, the way it impacted us, and we're holding on to this unforgiveness. So being able to move through some of these mother sister wounds is really powerful in our healing process and really important in our healing process. So that's a big one. I know a lot of women have that wound, and so it's an important one to look at. Okay. So, and if you can remember, and this was hard for me because some people, they do things intentionally, but for the most part, we are all good women doing our best. She's hurting me because she's been hurt. And this was a big one for me because as I started healing and doing this work, I was able to recognize other people's wounding, right? So when people would come at me or things were happening, I would be like, okay, she's coming at me from a place of hurt and trauma. And that happened to me not too long ago at an event. And I had a woman who left an event and she was really struggling and, with the other women who were there. And I listened, and I just knew she's coming at me from a place of deep wounding. And she came to me a couple days later and apologized and opened up about some of the sister wounds that she had. And had I not done this work, I would have I probably would have crumpled. I wouldn't have been strong enough to handle it because I would have felt like it was my fault and, whatever, for bringing women together. But because I've done this work, I was really able to see that, okay, she's got some deep wounding. This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with my event. She got triggered, and this is what's happening to her right now. So it was very powerful that I could do that. So if you can be open your heart to creating loving, deep relationships with other women, you will start calling in the right women to your life. You will start healing yourself, and you will really be open to that process. Okay, so the next one is a good girl syndrome. I was guilty of this. So good girl syndrome is when we play the role of the good girl. We don't do things wrong. In order to be loved, we have to be good. We're controlling, perfectionism, rigid, because we want people to like us. But what that's really doing is it is suppressing our inner wild woman. It is really keeping those places of us inside of us that want to be seen, but because we fear rejection and abandonment, we don't let people see that side of us. So we play this good girl. And what we need to do is we need to reawaken the wild woman. Now, if you have worked with me or you've seen any of my post on social media, I am all about reconnecting with the wild woman. And the wild woman isn't like off the rails, going crazy, or she's not destructive. She is just awakening those pieces of her that she has suppressed for so long. And all of our wild looks different, right? So my wild is really stepping into this leadership role and gathering women and doing deep work and not being afraid of that anymore. And, some other person's wild could be going to an art class or signing up for dance class. It's just these places that you have left dormant within you, that you have said, no, 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 society's not going to like this part of me. Nope, I'm too much. I'm too much for people. No, I'm not going to do that. And so we need to reconnect with the wild woman. We need to reawaken her. We need to get messy. We need to get out in nature. I love this one because it makes people so uncomfortable. We need to get naked outside. outside and you need to show your emotions. So many of us have been conditioned to not show our emotions. We're too much. I used to be told I cried all the time. I was a roller coaster. I was so up and down, and I was, but it was because I was suppressing my emotions. It's because I didn't feel safe sharing them. And because of that, I kept them suppressed and they came out in all crazy ways. I really was a roller coaster. I'd snap at people. I'd be happy one day, sad the next, and it was a mess. But when I started getting in touch with those emotions and when I started to really share with people how I was feeling, game changer. It was an absolute game changer. So you've got to reconnect with that wild woman. You've got to let her out. She's dying to get out. And we can talk about that later, ways to do that. But it's really important. Get rid of that good girl syndrome and reconnect with your divine essence. Okay, another big one is stifled sexuality. So I work with a lot of women and I hear, you know, you're closed off. You're closed off in the bedroom. You're closed off to your own pleasure. You don't even know what you like. You just go through the motions of sex and not even really sure if you like it anymore. You just want it over with. And you're so disconnected from that piece of you, from that pleasure, that you really need to step into your own pleasure. You need to own your own pleasure. You need to not be afraid of it. And it's scary to some women because we have been conditioned to think that if we're sexual or like sex or whatever, we're called so many different names. And I'm not going to name them here. This is not the place or the time. And I don't want to put that into anybody's head. But we've been conditioned to think that we're too much if we're sexual. Okay. That is so untrue. We are sexual beings, we are divine beings, and we need to step into our pleasure. We need to own it and not be afraid of it and ask for what we want. Okay. So, this is another important one. As I said, this is not going to be a very deep dive today because we can't do all this work in a workshop, but these are just important pieces that you really need to look at in your life. And then if you want to go deeper, find somebody to work with, reach out to me, and then really work on these things and start owning them and releasing them and replacing them with healthier ways. Okay. So another big one is body shame, right? And this kind of comes with that stifled sexuality, but body shame, we have been so disconnected from our bodies. We've been conditioned to believe that we need to look a certain way and that our bodies were made for men. And, we need to wear certain clothes. And if we don't wear certain clothes, or if we do, there's so much. And so we're shamed. And look at what society has put for the ideal body for women. And so many of us look at ourselves in the mirror and we don't like what we see. So we're so disconnected from the beauty of our body. We are magic. We are portals. We birth humans into this earth, and so we should be really connected with our bodies. And this is something that I'm working on. I use vaginal steaming. I have been really disconnected from my body and my womb space because I did not like being pregnant. I have had horrible periods my whole life, so my womb and that place really became a place that I hated. And so I am working through reconnecting with that by vaginal steaming, by really appreciating my cycle every month and honoring that space. And I'm reading a great book called Womb Awakening. I can, in the follow-up email, I can send you the information on that book. But we have to reconnect with our bodies. We need to love our bodies. You can do that by doing mirror work. Okay, get naked in front of your mirror and start talking to your body positively, because it's a game changer. It's something that I'm doing and working on, and it has been very powerful to do this type of work. Okay. And the last one before we kind of step into our process is unexpressed rage. So I was with somebody the other day who said, I have so much anger inside of me. And I get it, because as I've awakened to this and as I've been on this journey of healing and expansion, I have found that I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off about the programming that us women have experienced over our lifetime. And so as I'm peeling back these layers, I am mad. I am pissed off. I have suppressed parts of myself to, fit into what society thinks I should be. And so there's this rage inside of me, but your rage is valid. Okay. There's nothing wrong with it. We need to release it and we need to channel it toward a passion. So you don't want to let it consume you. You want to let it fuel you, but you have to really recognize it and deal with it and release it in a healthy way and then let it fuel you. And this is why I'm so passionate about gathering women. This is why I'm so passionate about working with women, because we all have these wounds that we need to heal from. And the more we heal, the more the world heals. And we all know our world needs healing right now. It is in such a state of crisis that I firmly believe that as women heal, the world is going to heal. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping women and facilitating Women's Circle and doing one-on-one coaching with women, because we get to change the world when we really tap into our divine essence and start healing these feminine wounds and just walking in that divine expression of our truth and who we really are. Okay. So let's dive in. Okay. Step one. So the first step to healing your wounded feminine is to recognize it. And so after this workshop, I would really love for you to go back to the list and write down what's alive for you right now. Think about that list that I talked about. What are you connecting with? What are some of those wounds that you're connecting with? So you can write the whole list down. But then I want you to really choose just one or two that you can work with through this process, okay? And so the next thing, you want to ask yourself these questions. What's alive for you in this moment by identifying your choice? Okay, think about it. What's alive for you? Why did you pick jealousy? Why did you pick depression? Why did you pick unexpressed rage? Why did you pick body shame? And then what's the story going on for you right now? What is the story wrapped around all of this? So jealousy, right? My boyfriend didn't make me feel safe and he was talking to another woman and blah, 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 whatever it is. Okay, get under that. What's the story, right? Oh, he's going to like her better than me, or whatever. You've got to identify the story. Okay. And then you need to identify what's the feeling inside of my body and where am I feeling it in my body. So for me, when I was doing a lot of this work, I feel it in my chest and I feel it in my throat. Okay. And I was always blocked here, always blocked, always this heaviness, this tightness, this constriction. And so tapping into that, okay, why am I feeling that there? Why am I feeling this constriction? Why is this here is so tight in my chest when I think about this, or when I'm thinking about this story? This is what's alive for me right now. And then go back. What's it remind you of? And go back as far as you can in your lifetime, okay? I was doing this with my facilitator and she brought me back to when I was like 3 or 4. And it was so powerful to really connect where I started dimming my light and why I started dimming my light, and be able to peel back that layer and heal it and release it, okay? And I was 3 or 4 and I had no idea. She was able to uncover that. So, and then how is this a message for you? What is the message going on for you right now? What is this telling you? Okay, so think about that. What is the message? For me, the message was I have allowed this story to go on in my life. I am 48, so for 44 years. And I believed it. And so the belief was, I'm too much. I'm too loud. If I shine my light, I'm going to make others feel bad. And so I dimmed to fit in. Okay. So these are really powerful questions that you need to ask yourself when going through this process. So next, I want you to focus on really what's coming up for you, because there's a lot that's going to be coming up. There's a lot of emotion. There's going to be a lot of feeling, and think about how you're feeling. What's the feeling? What's the sensation or emotion in your body? This isn't a judgment. This is just a noticing. Where are you feeling it? What's going on for you? And again, focus on the story. What's the story going on inside of you right now? Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a minute, and I want to walk you through just a short visualization meditation. And if you have been in one of my virtual circle programs, my 6-week program, you have heard this visualization and meditation. And for those of you that haven't, this will be new to you. But I just want you to kind of connect, okay? So many of us have been disconnected from our little girl. We grew up too fast. We kind of pushed her aside. And so this visualization is going to help you really kind of get into the space where you can connect with her again. So I want you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and then release it. Do that again, in through your nose and out slowly through your mouth. And one more time, in through your nose and out slowly through your mouth. Now, keeping your eyes closed, I want you to envision yourself in the most beautiful place. This is your happy place, the place that nourishes your soul and makes you feel peaceful and safe. It could be the beach, a cabin in the woods, hiking a beautiful trail in the mountains or red rocks. Maybe it's a beautiful meadow of your favorite flowers. See yourself in this place, wrapped in the peace and tranquility of it. You realize you haven't felt this comforted or peaceful in a very long time. As you look around and take in your surroundings, you see a little girl coming towards you. As you watch her approaching, she seems familiar. You smile when you realize this little girl is you. You haven't seen her for a very long time. In fact, you've forgotten about her, and seeing her again reminds you of how much you miss her. She embraces you, and you feel an immediate connection to her. You realize you have missed her too. You spend time together, sharing stories, getting to know one another again, laughing at memories of your childhood. You take her hand in yours and give it a loving squeeze. Emotions hitch in your throat as there's so much you want to say to her. What do you want to say? What does she need to hear from you? What programs did this little girl believe that she needs to let go of? Spend some time here with her and let her answer you. She squeezes your hand and gives you a big, tight hug. She thanks you for this time together. She tells you she's missed you and to not be a stranger. You promise her you won't. She lets you know it's time for her to go, but before she leaves, she tells you she has something for you. She slips her hand into her pocket and pulls an object out. She gently places it in her hands and covers it with hers. She takes her hands and folds yours over the treasure. She says it's something from your childhood, something to remind you of who you were, your innocence and strength, your dreams and passions, your inner knowing and wonder. You smile at one another, a knowing smile, connected by a lifetime of love. She turns to leave, and your voice hitches in your throat. Don't go, you say through thick emotions. I'll always be here, she replies as she slowly walks away. You unclasp your hands and look at the treasure she has given you. A wide smile breaks out across your face. Thank you whisper as a soft breeze crosses your face. Your inner child has reminded you of who you once were before the programs, before the wounds, before the masks became a part of you. Please take a deep breath in and just let that settle on you. And another deep breath in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I use that visualization as a way to really connect with your inner child. It's something that we probably haven't done in a long time, and it's very powerful to really connect in that way. Some of you need more of that connection. Some of you need to incorporate some play and really nurture that relationship with your inner child. Okay, it's an important piece. Your inner child, that is where a lot of that wounding has taken place, and so it's a space of healing, but it's also a space of forgiveness and expansion, and just a really beautiful relationship that you can nourish and grow. Okay. So if that was a lot for you, please reach out to me after this workshop. I will have a follow-up email and you can reach me. But it's an important piece to do, especially when we're looking at our feminine wounding. Okay. So you can, after this, you can journal on it and really share what came up for you. You can email me. I would love to know. Okay. So back to this wounding and really looking at that inner child. When we can get to the story and identify the limiting belief, we can release it. So we really want to clear the body and create a clear channel. We want to move whatever's stuck in the body. So whenever we have these wounds, wherever we have any traumas or anything like that, they get stuck in our body. That's why I was always tight here, right? I was too much. I was too bright. I made people uncomfortable. And I was like, like I shut down. I was blocked in my throat chakra, all through my chest, constantly blocked, believing I wasn't good enough, believing I was too much, was going to make people uncomfortable. So what was the story and what was the limiting belief around it? Once we can identify it and we can get to we can release it, we can clear it and create this clear channel. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we release these wounds? So one of the ways that we do that is through sound, like I just did, like any type of sound, really let it out. It clears the channel. It breaks things up inside of you, right? I know it sounds so silly, but these are big things. Movement, getting on your hands and knees, doing cat cow, the yoga position, dancing, moving around, hitting a pillow, anything that you can do to really shake up whatever's stuck in your body. Okay. Breathing, breath work. Okay. Doing this breath work, really sinking into the body and releasing it, breathing it out, breathing in and then breathing out. So whatever you can do to really move all of the stuck energy that's in your body from these wounds. Okay. And then when you're looking at your story, these are great questions, because is this true? Ask yourself, is this true? Can you absolutely know it's true? What happens when you believe that thought? And who would you be without that thought? So in my case, right, you're too much. Is this true? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was, but maybe it's not true. Can you absolutely know it's true? No, I can't know it's true, because guess what? There are people who love what I do. There are people who embrace what I do. There are people who come to my circles. There are people who work with me, right? So what happens when you believe that thought? So when I believe that thought, I shut down. I don't let my creativity flow. I don't put out the content and the workshops and the circles that I want to, because I believe that I'm too much and that nobody's going to show up. Okay. Who would I be without that thought? Well, I'd be a damn good facilitator and leader, because I wouldn't worry about what other people say. I wouldn't second guess myself. I would be so in line with my feminine flow that Wild Hearted Revolution would cause a ripple effect through the world. Okay. So ask yourself these questions when you're looking at the stories that you're telling yourself. So, Releasing the Past process by Barry Green. I learned these from my circle facilitator, from Sistership Circle, who has been the most incredible mentor to me. But so the hill, she used this, and it's very powerful. So you're going up a hill and you're pretending like these admonitions are behind you, and you're elbowing them on the way up the hill. If you don't have a hill, just go, walk and elbow behind you. So mine was, no more, I'm not good enough. No more, I'm too much. No more, my light's too bright. No more, whatever's coming up for you, these admonitions, these negative thoughts that are always there, kind of keeping you stuck. Okay. You're elbowing them. Okay. So if you're going up a hill, wherever you're going, but then when you turn around, when you come down the hill, you come down with affirmations. I am amazing. I am enough. I am worthy. I know enough. Okay. And then you go up the hill again. What's the next one? And then you come down and replace them with affirmations. So this is a really powerful, powerful exercise. And if you can do this and start releasing, you are going to transform yourself. So the next one is a pillow. So face in the pillow, bend over, scrunch your stomach and scream into that pillow. No more, I'm not enough. No more, I'm not worthy. No more, whatever your admonition is, and really getting it out. Okay. And then you can also use a baseball bat to hit something safe in a safe way. You can hit a pillow, you can hit a piñata. I used to bring piñatas to my clients and let them really beat the crap out of it, and say those admonitions and then replace them. I am good enough. I am enough. I am worthy. I am strong. I am powerful. I am a leader, because you want to, once you release, you really want to replace with the positive. You can get a wand, this little blinking wand on Amazon, right? And as it's blinking back and forth, you're releasing the admonitions, right? You're doing your no more, no more, no more, and then you are replacing them. Resistance band, take the band, no more of this, no more, whatever it is for you. And then replacing them, okay, with affirmations. So these are all really amazing, powerful tools that you can keep in your toolbox and really work through this healing process. So here's what you need to know. Resistance will show up. So I was a former runner. I ran. Anytime resistance came up, I ran. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to go there. I just would run. And you are going to come up to resistance, and it will show up. How does it show up? Avoidance of being in the body, freaking checking out, like, nope, not taking action. I was really good at not taking action. There we go, checking out. Heaviness in the body, justifying and reasoning. I was great at justifying and reasoning. Oh my God, I had a reason for everything and I could justify it and get people on board with me. Convincing myself or yourself and everyone else of your story. Yeah, but this is what happened and this is why I am the way I am, and blah, 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 blah. And everybody feels sorry for you and you just got them all on board. So that is how resistance can show up for you. So you really need to check in with yourself when you're feeling like checking out, when you're avoiding, when you're justifying and reasoning, when you're trying to get everybody on board with your story. That is resistance. Okay. And it shows up for everybody. So there are a lot of judgments that come up with resistance, because resistance is a safety mechanism. It's the ego saying, I don't want to go there. I don't want to look at that. Nope, that's unsafe. You don't go there. That's no, 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 no. So you need to give yourself permission to go there and actually just be with it. Just sit with it, allow it, and go into the resistance, okay? Because this is where the magic happens. This is where you will have the biggest transformation. When you can notice the resistance and sit with it and go into it, you will have so many amazing, magical, medicinal moments through it. Okay. So once we do that, once we do all of that work, and it's hard work, you're not going to do it in an afternoon. It's going to be a process. I'm still doing this stuff. I'm still working on it, and it's something that I do all the time because stuff always comes up. We're not ever going to not have our stuff. Okay. So what do we do with it? Once we release, once we recognize, once we, get the admonitions out, once we figure out the story and what's underneath it, once we sit with our resistance and get through it, then we want to create new possibilities and action. So what's the affirmation that you're replacing it with? What's the new possibility? What's the vision? What's the new goal? You always want to replace your admonitions with an affirmation. Okay. You want to get rid of them, release them through those techniques, and then replace them with an affirmation. And then what's the new possibility for you? My new possibility is I want to have more one-on-one clients. I want to have more circle programs, right? So what's the vision? What's the vision is getting myself out there, continuing to do workshops like these and allowing people to see how I work, and then attracting those that think that we might be a good fit together. And then, what's the new goal? My goal is I want to have retreats all over the globe for women where we can do this kind of work in a 5-7 day retreat. So you want to replace all of that yuck, all of that stuff that you just let out and let in. You want to create it and create new possibilities and take new actions. And so when you set a goal and when you cast a new vision, you want to put action in place to do that. Okay. And so the next thing is realize that when you do this work, you're going to feel vulnerable. You need to have aftercare because it is vital to the process. Me as a facilitator, every time I'm done working with somebody or holding a women's circle and holding that space, I have to practice the sacred self-care, as do you when you're doing this work. So what can you do to take care of yourself? Can you give yourself space to go take a bath, to go for a walk, to journal, to meditate, to just sit in silence, okay? Because as you're working through this stuff, it's deep and it's going to bring up stuff. It's going to continue to bring up stuff, and you're just going to continue to peel back layers. And so you really have to take that sacred self-care so that you can nurture yourself and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So can you allow yourself to be with whatever's coming up and not avoid the feelings? Because so many of us will do a workshop like this and then boom, we go right back to work. Boom, we go right back to the kids. And boom, we go right back to walking the dogs or whatever it is. And you don't take that time to really sit with everything that was just taught to you and allow yourself to to sit with the feelings, to sit with what's coming up and not avoid it. And so you giving yourself that sacred aftercare is really important when you're doing this work. Okay, so I will give you an example. I had a in-person circle a couple Sundays ago, and it was heavy. It was really deep. There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of releasing. There were just a lot of vulnerabilities being shared, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was, I love the work that I do, but afterwards, I take a day. I take a day where I sit outside. I journal. I don't have clients that next day because I know the deep work that's going to happen. And so I allow myself that space. I'll take a bath. I read a book. I'm just really gentle with myself, and I don't distract myself, but I sit with whatever's coming up for me, because when I'm working with people, you guys are mirrors for me, right? So when we're doing so, sometimes something gets triggered in me and I need to go, oh, okay, why is this coming up? Why did that trigger me? And I need to do this work as well. So I'm healing and doing this work just like you are. And so we really need to practice the sacred self-care when we're doing this work and not just go boom right back into life and not deal with anything that's coming up for us, because it'll come up in really unhealthy ways, and we don't want that to happen. So I hope that this workshop was really inspiring for you, that I hope that it opened up some things for you, and that you were able to see places in your life where maybe you have some feminine wounding that needs to be healed. If you do, please reach out to me or to somebody safe. If you would like to go deeper, I do one-on-one work. I do a 12-week program or a 6-month program one-on-one with people. I will have a brand new online group, virtual circle program. This is a 9-week program that will begin in April. If you have been through my 6-week program, you can do this 9-week program. It's completely different. And it is really going to go deep and touch on a lot of the things that we just talked about, but we're going to go deeper and do a lot of this work together. I do have a monthly circle gathering where we just pick a theme for the month, and that is in person at this time, but I am going to add a online one as well. So a virtual one where you can come in through Zoom. So wherever you are in the world, I would love for you to join me and get a taste of circle and what amazing magic medicine that is involved in all of this. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for taking the time to hop into this workshop and to get to know me a little bit better and my passions and what I love to do. And as always, stay wild. Bye now.